Hello, welcome to the third mini lectures in Module 5, focusing on planning, strategies, and tools. In these mini lectures, I'm going to introduce to you some strategies and tools that you can employ in this initial stage of any community-based language learning programs. In brief, we will look at the planning strategy first, and then the planning tool of a community-based language learning programs. 1. Planning strategies. By considering the following important topics in advance of project launch, you are ready to make the best use of instructional time once the project is underway. They are gathering resources, milestones and deadlines is about time, team plannings. Gathering resources. What materials will you need? Take a look at your inventory and see what supplies, tools, or other materials are available at school or offered by the community. Will your projects involve the use of technology that are new to you or your students? Plan for the introductions of unfamiliar tools. Will you need to expand your students' access to technology? Think creatively about how to make access more frequent and equitable. Will your students need access to experts to answer the questions that are apt to come up during your projects? Consider ways to engage with experts both in person and from a distance. Experts aren't always available to pay a personal visit to your classroom, but technology can bring them closer. Means that can be made use of it. Email, online chat, or video conferencing. Milestone and deadlines is about time. Teaching students to become effective managers of their own time should be an overarching goal of any project. This is a skill that will support them throughout their education and beyond. Projects of all sizes offer opportunity to teach and reinforce good time management skill. Plan a project calendar with milestones along the way. Your students' attention to time management will be better if you share a project calendar that makes deadline visual. If you are planning a project that lasts several weeks, chunk big tasks into smaller and more manageable pieces. Make sure students are aware of the smaller deadlines they will need to meet along the way. You should also share your planning calendar with parents via project blog or weekly email about the projects. Learning management systems offer teachers and students another way to organize all the components of a project in an online environment. Team plannings. How will students be grouped or organized? In your role as project managers, you need to remember that students will be doing different things at different times. Sometimes, individuals will work alone on separate parts of a team effort. Other times, team members will be working together. As project managers, you will be supporting students who are going about many activities that a project involves. The team approach requires you to reset your expectations and experiment with different combinations. Students will sometimes work separately, other times in pair or small groups. How will you ensure that students take seriously their responsibility for the team success? In some situations, you may want to team students who share a certain skill, proficiency, or interest. Other times, you may want to mix students whose strengths complement one another. 2. Planning tool. The project management tool teachers need include tool for communicating with students and others about the projects, tools for making milestones and events visible for notifying students when changes occur, methods for getting resources to students, system for managing work products, structures that support a productive learning environment in which teams and individuals are engaged in a variety of learning tasks at the same time. In terms of the assessment tool, there are ways to gauge whether students are working productively and accomplishing project goals, ways to assess the load balance within a team so no individuals end up doing too much or too little, ways to give just-in-time feedback on students' work as it develops, not just when it is complete. The project management tool students need include system and tools that help them manage their times and flow of work, system that help students manage materials and control work drafts, collaboration tool, method for seeking assistance, ways to get and use feedback on their own through self-reflection, team input, and teachers' advice, ways to work interactively and to see how parts add up to the whole. Common tools are Wiki. A wiki, at its simplest, is an early edited web page. Users create pages of shareable content using just a browser and the most basic markup language to format text, add web link, or build new pages. Collaborators can write and edit together from anywhere. A wiki can be open to anyone or limited by password. Wiki pages can be syndicated, so collaborators or readers can learn about new content as it changes. Many collaborators use a wiki to write together and then pull the content of the wiki to publish in another forms. Wikis are a great tool for developing information that flows many to many. Wikispaces and PB Wiki are two wikis popularly used in education. A blog is an easily edited web page too, but in structures and flow, it is more of a one-to-many delivery system, with one primary author controlling the contents. Viewer can comment on postings made by the author, but interaction in a blog is less of a free-for-all than in a wiki. A blog offers a great tool for communicating about progress or milestone and to broadcast news related to the projects. Additionally, you can create separate blogs for your students to publish in and link them to your own blogs. That is the end of the third mini lectures in Module 3. Alright, we have so far talked about the planning of community-based language learning programs. Remember, planning plays a vital role in the success of a program. The more carefully you plan and prepare for it, the better learning experience your student will have while participating in it.
Cúi we turn on the hoverboard, what's going to happen?
It's going to hit.
It's going to hit. Because our students participate in meaningful projects,
There we go.
they are able to think outside of the box. They learn empathy and realize that their dreams may become a reality. Yay! Are you excited?
Part of the fabric of eminence culture is contributing to the larger society. So we really try to encourage kids to plug into what is a problem or an issue or a gap that needs to be filled, and then how can you contribute to that? So, Wheels for Tate really starts with this idea of there's a kid in our building who has a need, and we feel like we could take a shot at solving that.
The 5th grade classroom is at the other end of our building. Tate can't walk that really long distance. So my special ed director said, hey, wouldn't it be cool if we could design a hoverboard chair? We had about 27 kids sign up. So we'll talk about our parts and pieces and what we need to do today to get it started.
And I said, well, how are you going to do that? You know, a mobilized wheelchair might be $15,000. They started scouring the internet and they came back and they said, we're going to do it for $400.
We had this picture and a video it was based on.
The kids came up with the idea to sell advertisements to go on the back of the hoverboard wheelchair. So when you see any of those businesses, make sure that you give them a big thank you. Tate, can you tell us, how does this make you feel?
Happy.
After we had the funding in place, the next step was to actually design the vehicle. We had to take Tate's measurements to figure out the dimensions for the frame. We wanted to make sure that we could make it safe. Why did we choose to go with aluminum?
It was light and very strong.
This morning, the students worked on putting the vehicle together. So they had to file the aluminum, create the frame, attach all the pieces.
It's really cool. I've never done this before. It's really helping me with math.
We just measured the axles to make sure that it was centered and the bolts are on tight.
We had to put the wheels on the axle and the chair on top of it.
We also had to think about the hoverboard and its placement. Guys, I see a problem with that hoverboard. I'm gonna wait and see if you guys can problem solve and figure it out yourself.
It's backwards.
It's backwards, okay.
It is backwards.
And I tightened that thing really hard.
We ran into a lot of problems, but once they figure it out on their own, they have so much more pride in their work.
Okay, the plastic zip ties are secure. The chair should be secure. Yep. It's secure.
So moving forward, we need to make sure it works, right? So we're gonna test drive it. Let's explain to Tate, refresher on what he needs to do.
He needs to put equal weight on both feet and lean forward.
There you go. Tate was so excited to hop onto the hoverboard wheelchair. He was able to sit down and he's able to get his feet aligned. Here we go!
Good job, Tate.
So we're trying to get handlebars so Tate can steer.
The handlebars are going to be so helpful for you.
Yeah. You did good.
Good job, Tate. This project taught them more than I ever could in a 30-minute lecture. It allows the hands-on experience. Also, building empathy was a really key piece.
Once you've made a difference for another human being, it's really hard to stop that. When I see a kid who I built a mobility device for and his eyes light up and I've made his day, that gets in you and you want to do more of that.
It makes me feel good inside because I'm doing something good and no one gets left out.
Well, I guess that's enough for today. Remember that there is a quiz and task following the module. Goodbye.